Hello fellow humans and welcome to another episode of your replays, and this week we're going to start off with the M40 Patton, the resident thick boy of tier 10 medium tanks, and a reason that there is no reason to buy the M60, because this vehicle, like the M60, has a horrible credit coefficient and it is very similar, and you can get it for free. So 0.3 accuracy, 80 crit gun depression, 3.5k DPM, 350 alpha damage, overall very nice. The armor on the turret's very good, the mobility is pretty good for such a massive vehicle. Now, there's a fun story between the M40 and the M60. Essentially, in real life, they're completely different vehicles because the M40 Patton is a first-generation main battle tank, and the M60 is a second-generation main battle tank. So essentially, if you would put them up against each other in real life, the M60 would absolutely wipe the floor with the M40. But in World of Tanks Blitz, they're essentially the same in minor differences. So what's the point of the M60? We can just get this thing free and play it very well, like Mihalos is doing right here. So overall, there's no point to get the M60 at all. But there is a very good reason to get this vehicle, because it's also somewhat beginner friendly. I mean, it's not as great at doing that as the E50M, but it is sort of very simple and easy to get into. Sort of like the fat STB, essentially, with obviously 3 degrees of less gun depression. And the secret to playing this vehicle well is to try to hide its abnormally large hull, and also use the massive rear end of this vehicle to bounce quite a lot of shots, as you can see right there. So if you want to get extra bounces, then, well, just reverse, because no, don't actually, that's a very bad idea. That's one very important tip there. Don't reverse out of sight in front of enemies. That's obviously very easy to do, and very nicely done here. Focus fire. The E5, he's a one-shot. Just peek a little bit further. You can take out the E5, and now there is an entire gun removed from the battle, which now means that Mihalos doesn't have to be threatened by that E5 anymore, because otherwise the E5 could have done at least another 400 damage if he hit his shot. So very nice focus fire right there. So if you are in a situation like this, always take out the easiest target first, and in that case, it's a low HP tank that is sort of sideways. So I have no idea what the Kranwagen is doing. He's probably reloading his gun for 7.5 eons, because the Kranwagen's DPM is lower than my will to live. So what we have here is a 3 versus 2, which is technically very good. But the problem is, one of those tanks is very low, and one of the enemy tanks is the Jagdpanzer 100. And that is 800 alpha damage right there. Now, how do you deal with that? Ideally, you wait for him to fire, and then you peek, because if you know the gun sounds, you know that the Jagdpanzer just fired, so you can peek him. Also know 14-second reload, roughly. You can peek him 2 times until he's going to reload, and now he just whiffs it. Now he can do the same thing again. If he just stays there, you can put 2 shots into him without ever having to worry about getting shot. And another thing that you can obviously do in that situation is look at the clock. There's a clock at the top of your screen. So essentially, if you look at that clock and you remember what second the enemy shot, and if you know how long the reload of that enemy is, you can simply very easily remember when they're about to reload. And there's the very strong turret armor of the M40 Patton. It's also very rounded, but what you can do against this vehicle is shoot it right below the gun, because that's where the rounding is sort of uncurves itself. It's very flat there, and you can penetrate it there. But ideally, don't shoot these vehicles in their front track wheel like that IS-4 is doing, because the front track wheel extends beyond the vehicle, which is good to cross country, but it's obviously very bad for the enemy, because if you shoot at the track wheel, especially from the outside, there's no armor behind it. So all you're going to do is take off the track. And there you go. E50M, M40 Patton, 2 very good tier 10 medium tanks. And now we go to tier 8, and probably the most batshit crazy tier 8 tank destroyer in the game, the SMV CC64, with quite impressive statistics. There you go. So Garon, XX Garon here, I don't know what your name is, Steve. So Steve here is playing the SMV CC64. Now the thing about this vehicle is that it is more of a heavy tank than a tank destroyer in pretty much any way, shape, and form, because it doesn't have a traversable turret. The rest of it is pretty much heavy tank, right? It's a great gun as well. The gun is probably even better than most tier 8 heavy tanks, which makes it very, very strong. You even have a bit of gun depression as well. So if there is one tier 8 tank destroyer that you should definitely get, it is this one. But if you want to know what other tank destroyers at tier 8 you should get, well, check out the next video. If it's not out yet. If it's not out yet, just pretend I've said this after it's out. So just, yeah, anyway. Now, in this case, pretty much the entire team is here on this side, which is it's sort of a good thing, because on this side, that's where the good fighting happens. But the problem is, Steve's team here sort of split up towards the B cap circle, so you want to be careful here. Another thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to be first point of contact, because if you're the first point of contact, if you're the easiest target, and 3 minutes ago I've told you to shoot at the easiest target, you know what's going to happen. If you're the easiest target, you're going to get shot at a lot. So always, if you can, don't be the easiest target unless being the easiest target is beneficial to either you or your team, which in case of, let's say, you're playing a mouse, where if you have a mouse and a Leo, you kind of want the mouse to take the shots and not the Leo. So in that regard, it works. But with most tanks that aren't well-armored super heavies, you do not want to be the first and easiest target for the enemy to shoot at, especially also if you can sort of guess the competence of your teammates, because if there's a teammate that's incompetent, you can make them useful by simply using them as the easiest target for the enemy team to protect your own hit points, to make that teammate useful by helping you, basically. And now this vehicle is just overall quite insane. It does have an impressive amount of armor as well for a tank destroyer. So highly do recommend this vehicle. The problem though is, over this entire line, is that while this vehicle is very good, the T9 and the T10 are, well, at best shocking. So I don't recommend getting those at all. However, what I do recommend is the Super Conqueror, because it's pretty easy to play and also can be very fun, because the HE rounds on this thing aren't really that bad. So accuracy, though, is the biggest downside of this vehicle, because it's 0.35, which is like, ugh. Just, nah. 2.8 DPM, though, this is basically, right now, the T125, that's better than the T125, but obviously the E5 is going to get a buff to its gun in the next update, so it's going to essentially get square again, even though some people believe that nerfing the E5's hull has in any way something to do with making it worse, because it's a hull down tank. Like, it's about the turret. If you nerf the turret, it's bad, but if you nerf the hull, it can still do hull down, because that's what hull down is. You hide the hull. So if you nerf the hull but give it a better gun, it's gonna be better because of how it plays. But anyway, now the Super Conqueror is also a very excellent hull down vehicle, with also an excellent front plate and good HE rounds that can penetrate quite a lot of stuff. So let's say you've got your first couple of tier 10s and you're looking for something interesting, something that makes credits at tier 10. Ideally, you want to get a tier 8 credit making tank, premium tank, because at tier 8 you get more credits for what you're buying. But if you really want a tier 10 credit earning vehicle, this can be one of, if not the primary option. Very simple. It's got the HE, which means you can do a lot of damage with cheap shells, which makes you a lot of credits. And it also is very easy to play, because even though the accuracy is kind of not great, the rest of the vehicle sort of is. Mobility is below average for tier 10, but then again, it is a very well-armored heavy tank, so that's excusable in that regard. And now, this vehicle is in a 4 versus 5. In 3 versus 5. That is very unfortunate, but we'll see how it is going to go with this very nice replay right here from Fisk. Now, aim. Come on. An outside scrape. There we go. That's very good. That Kranwagen can't pin the side. It does have pretty solid side armor as well. Like, it has some spaced plates around it, so you'll be fine there as well. And now, obviously, the Kranwagen's firing heat at a spaced side plate. That's quality. And the Kranwagen gets also set on fire, so poor guy right there. And now, shove an HE straight through his engine deck. Close enough. Almost. He's still firing heat. And not there yet. It's getting close because the Progetto is also on 100 HP, so this is going to get very damn close. But a lot of the enemies are low, so let's see how this is going to pan out. And now the Grill and the IS-4 are getting forward here. Now, the main thing... Why does he peek? Like, easiest target. Perfectly done. Absolutely impeccable gameplay right here. Take out the easy target of the Grill. And now, basically facehug this IS-4. He can't pen the Super Conqueror because he can't get his gun low enough to penetrate the lower plate. And now, that E5, he's just driving out sideways. The IS-4 is sort of helping as well because the IS-4's blocking the E5's shot. And again, the E5 is a way easier target here than the IS-4. For shooting the IS-5, the E5, whatever, makes a lot more sense here. Now, 273 hit points. It is getting very close. So, yeah, there is another one. There's an E100 as well. And they both bounce right off. What is happening right now? All the thing that this IS-4 has to do right now is just turn away. Get out of the line of sight of the E100 and allow the E100 to finish off the Super Conqueror because the Super Conqueror can be penned in the lower plate and the IS-4 can't do that if he's this close. So all he has to do is back off and give the E100 a shot, but he just decides to drive forward. What is going on? 5.8k damage and now 273 hit points against an E100. This is never gonna happen, is it? But is it? Now, pull the adrenaline, track him right there. And now again, set up a side-scraping maneuver. Track him again, ideally. And he shoots heat at the space side. What the hell is going on in this game? And now, once again, that E100, he's got a long reload. And Fisk knows that. All he has to do is wait and then finish him off. Boom. What the fuck is that? That is amazing. Very nice.